Right, it's just gotta stop. Because every week I get people tweeting me, cheap plug at Simon316, saying, Simon, I just don't think Rampage is a must-watch show. Okay, don't watch it. That's all you have to do. And I admit there's some things that need to get better, but it's 60 minutes of wrestling. Why can't we just enjoy things? Otherwise, though, hello, my name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for joining me. And given that it is Saturday, make sure you do two things. Go and watch Ups and Downs for SmackDown, but not before you've watched Ups and Downs for Rampage. That's right, we're gonna do it. Let's up those downs. Rampage actually started a little bit sports entertainment this week, which I did enjoy because we had an opening promo. Now, because All Elite Wrestling usually does a match, when we do have an interview segment, it feels fresh, like a flower, and I like flowers. It also happened to be Bryan Danielson, so it was star power right there, and he was all like, yeah, I took on Daniel Garcia recently, and he beat me. That's why come Dynamite, I'm going to whip his ass in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Bryan even admitted that he may never be 100% again, but he's not going to retire because he loves wrestling so much and it fuels his every being. This guy, I think, is meant to be a villain. No way. Garcia didn't wait long because he then interrupted and he was like, listen to me, Bryan, you're my hero, or used to kind of be my hero, and hearing you speak this way just makes me mad in my tum-tum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to defeat you on Dynamite, and then afterwards, you're gonna have to call me, I think he said, the greatest technical sports entertainer in the world. You do not say those words to Bryan Danielson though, because he just freaked out and he was like, I hate all this sports entertainment BS, and Chris Jericho has corrupted your mind. You were one of the people I wanted in the Blackpool Combat Club, so now what's gonna have to happen is I'm going to beat the stupid out of you. He got in Garcia's face, he was like, and he walked off. And I tell you though, this program is so good. Their last match was absolutely fire, and I would give a big half-an-hour chunk of Dynamite to this, and of course, because it is 2 out of 3 falls, Daniel Garcia can win the first one. You can be like, oh no, and then Bryan Danielson wins the other 2, and it kind of feels like now, when we get to All Out, it should be Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. That's just a good match. That's something I want to see, especially in AEW. Then a quick video package reminding you that CM Punk returned this week. And they may as well have gone, oh, you should start watching again. They just had the most random match ever. It was Sammy Guevara and Ty Conte, now Ty Melo, taking on Sky Blue and Dante Martin for the AAA mixed tag team titles. What? Now, Sam and Ty have been running around with these championship belts for ages, and it has been referenced on AEW a lot. But I don't think there was any build here, unless I completely missed it. And why are Dante Martin and Sky Blue teaming? And what happened to everything between Dante and Stokely Hathaway? I mean, Stokely Hathaway actually screwed him over. And Dante's like, man, things happen, let's move on. I just felt like this should have been built a little bit more so we could care about those belts. Because to me, it was just like, oh, it's the things that have been carried around for a while. In that sense, it's got to get it down. This is only a small thing though, because again, listen to everyone I just said was in this match. Sammy Guevara is always good. I don't think he's capable of having a bad match. It was excellent seeing Ty Melo back in the ring because it's been a while. Dante Martin is some kind of wrestling savant, and every time I see Sky Blue, she just gets better and better and better. Sammy's such an asshole, he tripped Sky to help his wife. I was like, man, you're just a bad person. But she was still able to get the hot tag to Martin at one point. And as always, I just watch him like this. This is him flicking around the place, and I shake my head because I don't know how he's doing it. He finished it all off with this insane dive, but once again, Ty was trying to grab onto him to slow him down. And it looked like it was going to work, but instead, Dante Martin did some weird wrestling math in his head. He was like, oh, look, Melo is on the floor. I can probably do a destroyer off her back onto Guevara. That's what he did. I was just like, who even came up with that? Sadly, that was going to be it for him, though, because eventually the women just pushed the men out the ring like you two are absolute idiots. And Ty was able to hit the Ty KO to get the 1, 2, 3. So they still are the AAA mixed tag team champions, which is great. And I enjoy seeing things like this because it's different. But like I say, I think next time we could fire up a bit more. But this was really enjoyable. The Lucha Brothers then told us that they're not done with Andrade and Rush, given that they screwed them over on Wednesday. But before that, they're going to focus on the trios titles. And don't forget, one of our first round matches is these guys, the Death Triangle, taking on Will Ospreay and Aussie Open, and I tell you now, if that match is bad by any stretch, shave my head. And then we had an event which was going to mean much more when we got to the end of the show. It was Parker Boudreau versus Sonny Kiss, so straight away I was like, alright, Sonny Kiss back on proper television. This is a good thing because they are an AEW original, and at one point it looked like they were going to get something, and instead they got nothing. Now at first I was like, what? Because in about 9 seconds, Parker just hit that massive back German suplex, and he got the 1, 2, 3. I was like, are we using Sonny Kiss as enhancement talent now? I think that's a good idea. But again, it was like a ruse to set up the main event. So we'll get back to it later. We then saw Andrade and Rush, and they're all like, oh man, we want to be the tag team champions. When Private Party were also there, so I was like, oh, well, this is good. Because I was wondering after Dynamite, where were Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn? Because of course, they're in the Andrade family office. But as soon as Andrade said they wanted a gold, because I was like, no, we want the championships instead. So Andrade was like, no, you work for me. And Isaiah was like, no, I don't care what you say. And I was like, wait, when did these people all fall out? Now look, this was clearly meant to be a tease, so we do have to see where it's going to go. But in the moment, yeah, I was a little bit confused. Who cares about that though, because the next match was the Gunn Club versus Beardhausen, which was Danhausen and Eric Redbeard teaming together. You know how I feel about these things. Up. And Danhausen also did an interview this week where he mentioned that he's always getting things like, oh man, you're too goofy for wrestling, whereas random casual fans will sit and go, this guy's really funny, I should tune in. And I'm happy that he was able to get that message out there because, as always, goofy wrestling for life. And if Danhausen ever did see this, know 2 things. 1, I think you're absolutely tremendous, and 2, you're one of the only people that my girlfriend will watch when it comes to wrestling. She knows nothing about the world of grappling, but she thinks Danhausen is so weird, she will tune in. That's the point. Otherwise, this is exactly what you would expect it to be. Austin and Colton were really struggling with the big man, although when Danhausen tied in, he was too busy trying to curse everyone, so they went and kicked his ass. Dan had a simple plan though, and it was just to tag Eric back in. Once again, he was just hitting all these double T maneuvers, and you really forget how massive he is. Then yes, this is me looking at it. Austin and Colton soon realised though, wait a minute, if we try and work together, maybe we can overcome the numbers game, although that didn't work, because once again, Eric was just throwing them around. But this is when Billy got a bit pissed off, and Eric Redbeard went to hit the ropes, he pulled it down, he went flying to the outside, and of course this left Danhausen very exposed. He got hit with the famous 1, 2, 3, and they lost. Danny Gunn also lost it afterwards and was like, look, you 2 absolute jabrones, you need to toughen up so you're going to have another match on Dynamite. But this is when Stoke Hatley was at ringside, basically casting like, oh, come to me, you can join my group. Now, I am very intrigued about this, because if you do put Austin and Colton Gunn with Stokely Hathaway, the entertainment may be too much, because it is going to be so ridiculous, I may not be able to watch it, because I laugh too much. Either way, enjoyed all this. Oh, I've already given it up, but it retains the up. I do just want to quickly say though, while it is awesome that the Gun Club still are on TV, because they've had loads of momentum, it's a bit strange we haven't seen the Acclaimed who won that feud. Now, I'm sure there's a reason here, but I just wanted to put it out into the universe because I'd like them to get a mega push. It then does seem like we are getting Swerve in our Glory versus Private Party, because we had an interview with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Now, like, yeah, we looked at the rankings and you weren't even in the top 5. We feel sorry for you, so you can have a match anyway. I was like, well, what's the point of the rankings then? And why aren't FTR losing their mind? It's like, I'm sorry, we are right at the top of this tree. Where is our tag team title shot? Because we'd like to have all the belts, but look, it's quite obvious that is going to happen all out, so for now I will sit in and enjoy the ride. And then, what is going on? Now, I'm sure this went right over my head because I'm a British guy, and the person we're about to talk about, I believe, is a United States of America reality TV star. But basically, Tony Schiavone was in the ring. He told Hook to come out here. Hook did come out, and Tone was all like, are you going to have an open challenge for that FTW title? And the wonderful haired, lovely man was all like, yes. This is when Zach Clayton came out to accept. I can't tell a lie. I went, well, who's Zach Clayton. Now, apparently, he has worked Dark a few times and he's got some victories as of late, but I watch a lot of AEW Dark, and this hadn't stuck in my brain because you're probably like me. You put it on and you just enjoy wrestling for an hour or so. But outside of that, that's about it. And look, I'm all for pushing new people too. I think that's the lifeblood of professional wrestling. But I was kind of like, well, there's so many other guys who are of a higher status right now in AEW that could probably use a good feud with Hook. You know, like Ethan Page. I mean, he had all that stuff last week and we haven't followed up on it. And I really hope that Clayton proves me wrong and he comes out and he has an absolutely banger match with Hook on Dynamite and maybe even becomes the FTW champion. Or that's not going to happen. But this just felt misguided. And you could feel the fans scratching their heads like, I don't really understand what's going on here either. So I would say this was a swing and a miss. It wasn't bad, it was just a bit weird. Got to get it down. It was then time for our main event, and after having a falling out on Wednesday, it was Daivari taking on Orange Cassidy. Thought this was pretty. All their friends were at ringside too, which was going to tie into the finish. And early on, Ari was all like, look, Orange, you can still join my group, but to prove your worth, you have to just lay down and let me pin you. So Cassidy's like, all right, sounds like a great idea. And as soon as he did, he tried to win with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. But it didn't work. That's when he started doing all his weird little kick thingamajigs and the hands in the pockets. I enjoyed every time. Ari doesn't enjoy that though, so he hit this neck breaker over the ropes thingamajig, and then they smashed into each other with clotheslines, and that kind of set the stage for the entire match. It was like, you do a move, I'll do a move, you do a move, I'll do a move, because Orange Cassidy then hit this crossbody, and all of a sudden Daivari came back with another neck breaker. I mean, this got so back and forth, it was ridiculous, and all of a sudden Slim J was trying to get involved, and Chucky T was like, no, I'm not going to let that happen. And because Parker Boudreau was also at ringside being all like, I'm an angry guy, Cassidy went and gave him a dive. 2022 wrestling. This did cause a massive distraction though, because when he got back in the ring, Daivari hit him with the iconoclasm for quite a good near fall. But I think this is when Orange was like, man, we just need to settle this score now. He hit him with the orange punch. 1, 2, 3. This is where we get back to where we were talking about earlier though, because all the teams got into a big brawl with Parker Boudreau basically destroying everybody before he stared at Orange Cassidy. But this is when Sonny Kiss returns. You're like, oh, well, you know, I'm sure Sonny's going to attack Parker for what happened earlier. But no, they turned around, they whacked Orange right in his testicles, because I presume fruit have balls, and then they all stood together like the Trust Busters had just got a new member. Now, I am still on the fence with the Trust Busters because we have hit fast forwarded it, but it is so more interesting with Sonny Kiss joining them. And like I say, that last shot looked really good. And it did the thing that wrestling should always do. It made me intrigued, and I want to see how all of this is going to fit together. Getting it up. It also made me have a surprise to finish Rampage, and it was a Swerve, and I always enjoy them too. But as always, yes, it is an interesting show. And maybe it does need a little bit of a revamp at some point, but there's still so much good to be had on it. Not every single thing needs to change the foundations of the world. Get it up. Now, please do leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of Rampage. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Hello to WhatCulture.com, where you can read yourself some articles. Go and follow us on social media, and make sure you watch Ups and Downs for Smackdown. It's live. My name is Simon WhatCulture. Thank you very much for joining me as always. Goodbye.